All right, Kosine, just give me 1 second. And 3, 2, 1. Hi, this is Jordan Woods for Rolling Out Star Studio, and today we are joined by, I'm gonna go ahead and say legendary producer, because I think that's either the space that you're in or trending toward. Yeah, we're joined by Kosine today. How you doing, man?
Jordan, I'm great, man. Blessed, highly favored. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. I'm a little bit jealous of you. I know you're on the West Coast. It's hot here on the East Coast, but I still wish I was out West. So, yeah, we're maintaining them.
Come on out, man. Come on out.
I'm gonna be out there in a few weeks. But yeah, man, like I said, it's a pleasure to be able to speak with you today. You work with some legendary artists and forge your own legendary path in your own right. So it's you can give a lot of guidance back to some people and kind of shed some light on your journey and make people know a little bit more about you, because I feel like the producers tend to fade into the background a little bit. So it'd be good to put a name to some of the work you've done. And yeah, let's jump right in, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, because people forget about me because I just be in the studio getting everybody's song together, and people forget about the producers, man. So absolutely, I'm humbled.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, that's kind of where I wanted to start with your journey into music, so we can give people the full breadth of your background. So, going to FAMU, I know you did major in music, but obviously you're producing now. So there's obviously correlation there. But did you know that the producing side is what you wanted to do when you got into music, when you went to college, maybe even before college?
I did not know that production was what I wanted to do right away. Honestly, I was singing and rapping and stuff first, and then I kind of shied away from that limelight a little bit, and then saw that production was a very close way for me to be in the mix, work with the biggest artists in the world and be a part of the music, but like not have all the fame and the pressure of, remembering the words and being on point, being super fly. You know what I'm saying? But then it came a point in my career when it was just like, man, nobody knows me. You know what I'm saying? Like going out in LA and my song is playing on in the club, but I can't get in the club because the bar.
It's your how you look saying like, oh, it's my song. I produced that song.
And he think I'm lying. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is dumb. You know what I'm saying? So, then I started to, after I had hits and stuff like that, I started to really, get into what was my voice. What is it that I have to say as a producer? You're always listening to artists and labels and just trying to, give people what they want as opposed to what it is that's in your own heart. So, after a while, I felt it like kind of bubbling over in my spirit. Like, yo, I got say, how like on the Source Awards, they was like, South got something to say, like something to say, man. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And those time the artist was birthed at, and now we're celebrating the 1-year anniversary of Truth Serum, which is my debut project. You know what I mean? So
2021, congratulations on that.
Yeah, we're here now. Thank you.
Visuals on point as well. We'll talk about a little bit about that later, but yeah, congratulations. That's no small feat.
Respect.
Yeah, man. So you said you didn't know you wanted to get into the producing side, but you did know you wanted to do music. So who were some of the musicians, and then as you got more into production, some of the producers, so we're talking about both sides there, who you looked up to and kind of said, okay, I like either it's just a passing interest or like, okay, I want to take something from them and like put it into my own career?
Yeah. I mean, it started with, Michael Jackson, of course, as a shorty, you know what I mean? It's like Michael Jackson, you know what I mean? Still in my mama. My mama was a seamstress and used to make wedding dresses and all kind of like joints. I was still the black string out her sewing kits so that I could have pearls on my forehead. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you was a real fan.
So I could really hit it. You know what I'm saying? When it's time.
So when you hit it, the curl dropped down.
You know what I'm saying? So Mike was first. And then it's crazy when I really started to say, all right, cool, production is what I really want to do. Since Mike was my favorite artist, the first book that I read was the autobiography of Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
Then seeing him, being raised in Chicago, it really hit home for me. You know what I'm saying? Oh, snap, Quincy, from all this time, like
you can do it.
You know, I didn't really know. So I studied Quincy, and, you know, I'm a sax player is my first instrument, saxophone. And so him being a trumpet player and being able to read music, and doing big band stuff and jazz, like that's all my roots. You know, I was in a jazz band in high school. I won the Louis B. Armstrong Jazz Award in high school. Like that's really my twist, you know what I mean? And then once I got hip to the radio, you know what I'm saying, and like started getting into R&B and finding my own identity, that's when I was like, wait a second, Timbaland, you know what I'm saying? Kanye,
Yeah.
Pharrell. I was
Yeah.
just working with Pharrell's guitar player yesterday, Brent.
Okay.
You know, he used to play for NERD and has played on,
Mhm.
you know, his hits. But it's just like, man, wow, like, yo, these are all people that I was like studying and looking up to, man. So for sure,
Wow.
for sure.
Absolutely. So during that time, what were some of the parts of their journeys that, like you mentioned, looking into Quincy, that being from Chicago, I'm sure that was kind of one was like, okay, it can be somebody from Chicago can do it. Somebody from Chicago is doing it. So I know I can do it. So what were some of those moments for you? Like, what were some of the key things that you took away from some of your favorite producers and artists that you wanted to put into implement?
I mean, just like song structure, you know, when I first started, you know, I had great ideas is what Kevin Shine told me. He's the guy that he did a camp in Chicago called Writers Camp. So shout out to Kevin Shine. He's also like how I met my partner too, you know,
Yeah.
how we started interns. Um, but he was just like, yo, you got good ideas, but you don't, you know, your song's got to have structure. You got to have an intro. You got to have a verse. You got to have a hook. And we should be able to hear the difference between the verse and the hook. And you be having too much stuff going on in this part. And it was so like, it was just like raw, you know, talent. And coming from, you know, playing in a symphonic band at FAMU, like I didn't leave no room for the artist at
Yeah.
first, you
Just
know,
agree.
yeah, my beats was cluttered. So just by, you know, pulling up and then like pulling up in the studio on people like Do or Die and Twista and man, it was a group from Chicago, man. I'm messing up. Oh, Don Ruff, yeah, On My Mama. They had a song called On My Mama. You know what I mean? Like when you on the radio, man, that's just like what? You know what I mean? In Chicago, because it's like you don't never get on the radio in Chicago, at least then, you know. So yeah, just really just getting that professional, you know, twist to the music was important.
Yeah, so you mentioned too as well, your partner, the intern with the intern. So leaving from FAMU, going to UC or Columbia, Chicago, and meeting him. What was that? The thought process behind transferring, and how did you two link up to start doing your work together?
Oh man, shout out to two, man. That's crazy because when I met him, the first thing he said was, "Hey man, you cool, but your beats whack, man. We trying to build a team over here, so you can come over here and be a part of the crew, but you know you have to work on your beats."
Yeah.
And my first job in the crew was to be a hype man for this
Okay.
artist Steve, you know what I'm saying, who was signed
Yeah.
to Black Records, you know what I mean, out here in LA. So he didn't really know how happy I was just being a crew, you know what I'm saying? I knew my beats was a little whack, you know what I'm saying? I knew I wasn't all the way there. But, you know, I finally had, you know, a crew and growing up as an only child, man, brotherhood has always been so important to me. You know what I mean? So that was the beginning of that. And just the fact that this man had the nerve to be that brutally honest with
Right
me,
off the bat.
I knew we was gonna be friends for a while. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope. And so explain to me some of you guys' early work. Like when did you guys start really collaborating in the way that you guys would end up collaborating? Where are the origins of that?
Oh, I
How did
mean,
that pick up?
like a few months after I met him, he moved in my house and we put a
Oh
studio in
wow.
the basement. And we was in Chicago working on, you know, Feed mixtape, which is how I got cool with the track stars. And there was another artist by the name of Hot to Death and a kid by the name of Marvo, LEP. You know, we was really Cubilla. We was really in Chicago doing it like we was in LA. Like we was just, but it was just at a local level, you know, and you know, just putting in our hours. You know, one of my favorite books is Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. So, you know,
Mhm.
Them 10,000 hours, we just stacking them up, you know what I mean, in the basement.
Yeah. And you mentioned keeping it local. You guys eventually took it from local and you did a little bit of work in LA. And you guys are kind of going back and forth. Now, LA can be daunting, especially if you're in the entertainment business. So explain to me, or just explain a little bit of your experience about when you guys first went out there mid 2000s and kind of just getting acclimated to trying to break in LA where everybody's trying to break in.
Man, looking back on it, I literally don't know how we did it. You know what I'm saying? Like looking back on it, because I know I have days now when it's like I'm trying to get somebody on the phone or tap in with somebody, and it's just like it feels impossible. You know what I'm saying? So now rewinding the clock to 2007 when we first moved out here, man, you know, we really maximized the little opportunities that we got. You know what I'm saying? Like we took the stepping stones. There was an indie label by the name of Jaded Entertainment, a guy by the name of Clee Irwin, who had a roster of a few artists and brought us in to be his in-house production team. So it's like, you know, we weren't working with Lil Jon and East Side Boys, you know, but we was working with the board bangers, you know what I mean? When it's about putting them hours in and you making songs, no work is in vain, you know? So we just worked for a while. Of course, the company folded after about a year and we moved back to Chicago again, you know, which helped us to like appreciate, you know, the next time we came out there, it's like, yo, when we go out there next time, we can't play, you know what I mean? Like really get on it. And so, yeah, you know, next time we came out, it was because I had met somebody on a panel teaching at Columbia College where I always say like that teaching was the cheat code because I was moderating the panel. A guy by the name of CL has the company DigiWax and was partners with Mims. He like, yo, Mims is coming off, but this is why I'm hot. He needs something new and fresh, and, you know, different. We need a different sound, and you got a different sound. And that was my first gold single, Mims Move If You Wanna.
Wow, that's amazing. So we're going to get to that next. I want to circle back a little bit, though. You just mentioned teaching at UC Chicago. Now, I don't think, now there are plenty of people who have gone on to teach at the university that they attended. I don't know that there's many people who, one, did it at as young of an age as you, and then two, made up their own class to be able to do it. So speak to me a little bit about how you came to start teaching at Columbia Chicago, and like you said, maybe even delve a little bit more into just the people and opportunities you met from that, because I don't think a lot of people would, a lot of people might separate like, oh, I can't meet anybody here, I'm just teaching, but you actually were able to make a meaningful connection while you were teaching to help you later in your music career.
Yeah, you know, my story is kind of crazy, right? Because, you know, it starts from my mom, right, who was originally from Panama. And my dad is originally from Guatemala, right? So todo mi llamo is Marcos Palacios, is a real Afro-Latino in front of you. You know what I'm saying? First generation American. And so my mom had me in music early, you know, and she just taught me to really be humble and to work hard because that's how they came up. You know what I'm saying? Dang, it's crazy. I got her picture right here, a little Dusty.
That's great.
Shout out to Mom Dukes as we coming off on Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I was doing music the whole time, went to FAMU for 2 years. And after my sophomore year, she passed away from pancreatic cancer. And I transferred home to Chicago to be with my family, to take over the house. Because again, like as an only child, I was a man at 20 years old. It's like, are you live? You know, she left me an inheritance. And we had really, really huge talks about life and what kind of father to be whenever I had kids. Like it was deep, you know what I'm saying? And so her first and her last wish was that I graduate from college. Wow. And so it was interesting because I registered for Columbia College and the hospice nurse had told me that the hearing was the last thing to go. So I read her my schedule. And the next day she passed away. And I just really feel like it was like, okay, my baby registered in school. All right, I'm out. You know what I mean?
That's fantastic that you did that.
3 years later, I graduated on Mother's Day, May 14th, 2006, 3 years later.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? And when I found out that graduation was on Mother's Day 2 weeks before, for the first time in 3 years of being at Columbia, I went to the president's office
Yeah.
and was like, yo, I got something to say.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I mean, graduation is for the valedictorian. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for us to speak, yeah.
Yeah, like we've been doing this for years, you know? And then I told the president's office my story. And then they were like, is there any way you can speak at both graduations? You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, we never had. So my school, they kind of rallied behind me and my story, you know, and then the head of my department, chemo, had known me since, you know, because I had to add an extra year as a transfer student when I changed my major to music education. I mean, to music production from education.
Yeah.
I had to do an extra year. So the head of my department, chemo, had known me for 3 years and known my story and was like, don't feel like you got to run to LA and try to figure it out. I know what that hustle is. If you want to, you can teach here and get your dollars up and get your shit together. And I'm just like, oh my God, what an opportunity. Absolutely. You know? And so yeah, that was those 2 years of being at Columbia and checking my mailbox and coming up with a syllabus for structure of how to teach people how to produce music was really how I was able to create and develop my own formula. Because I didn't have any hits at this time. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even think the students were going to respect me. You know what I'm saying? But every week was like a beat battle. I was just like over the head, like, Professor, you just made this last night? Hell yeah. You know what I'm saying?
If they see the work, they got to respect it at that point.
Gotta respect it. Gotta respect it.
Just real quick, I want to hit on something you talked about there, just the ability to, I'm sure being able to have a stable job while you're kind of doing your thing and perfecting your craft was immensely helpful. So if you could speak to that a little bit, like God told you, you don't have to go out there right away and do that hustle because you need to be at a certain spot. So when you do go out there, you can have some time to be able to acclimate yourself and do the work that it takes to break in.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it is the reason why my faith is unwavering. You know what I'm saying? Because when I look back at my story, in every pocket of life, God had me. God was setting me up for the next pocket. Like, and the story is so wild that like it could only be God, you know what I mean? That put me in all these different situations so that I can know how it really is. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because, you know, when I'm out here with people, like I remember I was in the studio with Mixed by Ali and mixing some of this Kendrick's engineer, you know, and the way he was working that SSL board, I'm just like, yo, fam, how, bro?
Yeah.
And like Dr. Dre, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, when you out here in Cali, you got to understand like the history here and the mentorship, you know, and even, you know, seeing somebody like a Hit Boy being able to have, you know, Kanye and Polo the Don or D-Mile and Tommy Brown being under Rodney Jerkins. It's like all my peers, you know, they had such dope. I just wanted to be in the room with these legends so bad, but God was like, nah, coach, you got to make up your own formula. You got to get your hits out the mud. You know, you'll never see how they make that. That's not what your destiny is. Your destiny is to stand on your own and for you to have your own sound and for you to figure it out. You know what I mean? And I always call that like taking the stairs. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you see people jumping on that elevator and you want to go up so bad, but it's like, nah, we need to build your leg muscles. Absolutely. So that when you get to the top, you know what I'm saying, you build, you different, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, so you mentioned your sound, getting your sound out the mud. So when you guys went and you worked with Mims on that project, producing, you know, 5-6 songs in that project, two things. So explain to me what that process was like. Was that for you kind of like the aha, I made it moment, but what was that like for you? Like, wow, okay, now I'm working with an established artist. Like I kind of broken in a little bit. So one, on that front, and then two, kind of explain to me how your sound, or how you just define your sound as a producer, has evolved over time.
Yeah, well, the first hit was an accident for sure. You know what I'm saying? Movie Marijuana was a complete accident. Like, one of my homies came to the studio and was just like, yo, there's another producer in Chicago that's hotter than you. And I was just so offended. You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you talking to? And he played me this track, and I'm just like, all right, that's cute. You know what I'm saying? That's cute as, you know what I mean? Put that track on my desktop, and when I come to the studio tomorrow, I'm gonna make that beat Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy was Move If You Wanna. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And what I noticed, the aha moment, was that I wasn't putting hooks on my beat. So when he had his track, it was a hook on it. So that's really why he loved it, because he loved the hook on top of the beat. And we all know that hooks and songs go number one, not just beats. Instrumentals is not going number one. You know what I'm saying? So I put a hook. That's me saying move if you wanna.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
Screwed up my voice, you know, studying what was going down in Texas. You know what I'm saying? And I sped the voice up like on some Kanye sample stuff, you know. And just put that boom on it. I struggled to get my 808 to be able to like compete. My low end, when I first Barry Hankerson, you know, he got Timbaland signed to him. He got the Track Star signed to him. So he got some hot producers under him.
Our team with him.
You know what I'm saying? And he's like, yo, your beats are crazy. They just a little light in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, they light. I was so offended, man. What do you mean by light in the ass? And that made me just really focus on figuring out how to get that low end to talk and cut. You know what I'm saying? And so you hear records like ass. It's like, is it low in the ass now? Is it light in the ass now?
Not at all.
Cake light in the ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that really like changed my sound. I really wanted to, you know, be able to have songs that could compete at like 1 a.m. in the club. Like in LA, it's like 1 a.m. is the sweet spot, right? Because everything closed at about 2. Yeah. So when the headliner DJ come up and start playing that shit, it's like, I need my records in this window of rotation, you know?
Absolutely. So, you know, a lot of those, you know, Anaconda, Cake, Dance, well, Ass, you know, 11 to 14, that area of your career. And then from there, you know, you branched off and went solo. So talk to me about the decision-making, and was that a big leap for you? Was that something you had been wanting to jump back into it? Because I know you said you started singing and originally doing music as opposed to producing like early on. That was your early thought process. So jumping into a solo career off of this success producing, how big of a leap was that for you?
Oh man, it was really catastrophic. Like I moved out of LA back to Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Went into a nice little depression after we didn't win the Grammy in 2015. You know what I mean? What it was time to do a Hollywood detox. You know what I'm saying? I had changed. I wasn't myself no more.
Okay.
I was with all these chicks, and you know what I'm saying? Just it had got in my bloodstream. You know what I'm saying? The Hollywood shit got in my bloodstream. So I had to come home to Chicago and just do a detox and get that Hollywood shit out my veins, you know, and really turn back into Marcos. You know what I mean? My family was happy to have Marcos back home. They don't even really care about Kosine like that. You know what I mean? He cool, but Marcos, Marcos, palabra, like, hey, papi, you want some arroz con pollo? You hungry, baby? You hungry? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because one, I was humbled to the ground. You know what I'm saying? Lost everything, put everything in storage. You know what I'm saying? Like I was feeling like I was blackballed. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when you got number ones and you Grammy nominated for Rap Song of the Year, your phone is blowing up.
Yes. Yep.
By that summer of 2015, my shit was cold. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is the fall off. This is what they were saying. Like, you can be hot for like 5-6 years and then fall off.
Yep.
So I just really locked in with like a lot of my hometown homies, you know, brothers that I grew up with, brothers that I was doing Upper Bound with. And it was like, I'm about to rebuild my business, but this time I'm gonna do it with people that genuinely like love me and fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? Like when I think about sessions with like a Kiki Palmer or something back in the day, and she come in with her mom, you know what I'm saying? Like, or, you know, man, it's just so many different artists. Like they come in, they have family members, you know, my Sean back in the day, you know, he come with his uncle, you know what I'm saying? Like they have family, they have people that really love them in their business, you know what I'm saying? Looking out for them. And that's how I really just rebuilt my business. I did it with my childhood friends that I went to grammar school with and high school with and was upper bound with. I got my best man from my wedding that's in my business. And then I have some other, like, you know, just strong Black people on the team. But I just rebuilt the team and made my focus on everything except for music. So that's when I started DJing at Apple Music in 2016. You know, they like, yo, you ever thought about being an on-air personality? I'm like, they're like, you overqualified to be a producer at Apple, but if you want to be an on-air personality, I think that'd be a great look for you. So I've been hosting a show on Apple called the Apple Music One List since 2016. You know what I mean? Like, man, so like just my you know, then 2017, I got on TV for the first time. I did a show on BT called Man Cave with Jeff Johnson, Slink Johnson, Tank. We had Nipsey as a guest and Lamar Odom and Ludacris and Charlamagne the God and my brother from FUBU, Brother Thomas, you know, Steve Harvey. Like it was lit in a different way. Then I started doing music for TV and film. So I started producing the music for Empire and Star. And I met Lee Daniels and I'm like, yo, you know, I act. I was taking acting classes on the low because I'm playing basketball with Michael B. Jordan and Rotimi. And all my niggas is like blowing up. They're like, yeah, coach, you funny as hell. You should act. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, y'all got me locked away in the studio all these years, and I've been telling y'all see my smile.
Yeah.
I got jokes, man. So I changed my focus. I had did a TED Talk, which was me like really kind of like speaking a prophetic word over my life. Professor Kosine presents How to Rewrite Your Life. And that message was a message in Chicago at Columbia, of course. This is 2016. And that was me trying to heal myself and giving myself a plan for what I knew was to come. Like, I think my next TED Talk is going to be Professor Kosine presents How to Rewrite Your Life 2.0, the testimony. Because since I gave that speech, like I said, BET, Man Cave, Apple, you know what I'm saying, Fox, Star, Empire, did another show on BT called, damn, what was that other show I did with all them R&B singers? Damn, that was just last year. I'm tripping.
Don't worry, I'll make sure it's included though. I got you. I'm gonna find it. I got you. I might already have it written down. I got you.
Yeah,
so now I know one of the things. Oh, go ahead. Oh, the uncle. Oh yeah. There we go. Yeah, I got that. Sure. So on your solo music, we talked a little bit before the interview started. We were talking about Truth Serum and how the 1-year anniversary is this month in May. So talk to me about, because it sounds like some of the stuff that you were talking about in your TED Talk is kind of also some of the stuff that we can hear in Truth Serum. And I think the visuals also go along with it too. It's this very beautifully shot, by the way. Like 30-minute short film. I think that's just such a dope way to, you know, release an EP, or especially a debut EP. So talk to me a little bit about Truth Serum and what the message is behind it.
Oh man, you know, now it's legacy music, right? Now, you know, I got 4 kids, you know what I'm saying? My son, my oldest is 12, you know, and I feel like there's gonna have to be an accountability moment now where it's like, all right, Dad, I'm 12, you know, you've been away and you work so much and you do these long hours for what? You know, and for why? You know? And so Truth Serum, the first song off of their Kings, is dedicated to my sons and to my late father who passed away, you know, featuring Idris Elba. And it's just like, I know, especially like thinking about my journey with my mom, right? I lost her at 20 and here I am at 40, still flourishing off of her teachings. You know, I'm thinking about my sons. If anything ever happened to me, you know, God forbid, I want them to be able to pull up the music, you know, because one, that's what I'm going to leave them. They're going to have the masters and the publishing to my entire catalog is what I'm leaving my kids. But then when you really sit back and listen to it, I want them to be like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Because the music outlives us. So to
Yeah.
create from a legacy standpoint, you know, I think when I was first creating her, like I said, my first hits were accidents and we were having fun. Now, you know, the George Floyd incident happened and I'm on the 405 and I'm like, the lyrics are just, they're coming to me spiritually. The lyrics come to me. Kings are falling every day and kings are rising just the same. But when will we know who we are? I see your lights, you are my star. Blessed are those who make it home. Like we in a time where like it's a blessing to get to the house every night.
The supermarket, that's crazy.
Bruh, it's, you know what I mean? So, you know, just Truth Serum is the most efficient way I know how to share my truth. And it's so personal, bro. Like it's so like I remember I was recording the song. There's a couple times I've been recording where like people can see and feel how uncomfortable I am with them in the studio, and they excuse themselves so I can finish recording. Because I can't do that in front of you.
Yeah.
You know,
Really personal.
You know what I mean? My brother just passed away, and I was writing with Brent, who's Pharrell's personal, you know, guitar player, and you know, was in NERD and all that type of stuff with Pharrell. It was our first time working together, and he's such a genius. And you know, my brother passed on Friday. We were working yesterday, and so I'm still going through my process. But like, that was my process, though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
creating,
right,
work.
Man.
Yeah,
I'm here today, and I'm here to write about what's on my heart, and my brother is on my heart, and my mom is on my heart, and I'm grieving, and there's tears. You know what I'm saying? But this is what Truth Serum, this is what Kosine's artistry looks like. This is that. I had a conversation with James Fauntleroy one day, because James Fauntleroy and The Dream are like two of my bros, where it's just like I admire them so much, you know what I mean? And I just, you know, it's crazy that I have access to these brothers and we've been able to work over the years. But I'm just like, why is it that Rihanna and Beyonce always calling you to write their albums, dog? Like, what is it, man? You know what I'm saying? And James was like, he gave me a few different reasons, but one of his reasons was, and I be writing about a lot of serious shit, Coach. I'm not always in here playing, dog. I be writing about some serious shit. And the conference room just like got cold and dark. And I just was like, damn, like, when do I ever write, you know, really take it all the way, you know? So that is what Kosine artistry is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's soul music, you know, 2023 soul music.
Okay. Yes, and first of all, very sorry to hear about the passing of your brother, but I'm glad to hear, like you said, you were able to distill it and put your heart into the art, and that help that be a part of your process. And so that kind of goes into the last thing I wanted to ask you, and it's just what's next? What's next for you as an artist, and what's some other areas, maybe even outside of music, that you want to delve into to express yourself and get your message out?
What's next is the next project, right? We're in it too. It's called "It Takes a Year to Get to Know Me," and we're the first. It's the first time we've done a NFT based project. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Web3. So every song we dropping a song a month. We dropping an NFT with it. So you can go get it. You know, literally right now, kosine.co/NFT. But you know, I got some people on my team that are just way smarter than me, bro. You know what I'm saying? And
That's good.
I've noticed as you know, especially as Black men, right? Like, we're good at being talented. We're not always good at team building. So that's a huge focus on me. And by building that team, you know, and having somebody that can like educate me in another space, the way that I can educate them inside of production and songwriting is everything. And I love that feeling. I love when I feel like I'm working with somebody who deals with their craft the way I deal with my craft, you know, and that's my CEO, Todd, you know, from the West Side 290 Broadview, you know, but he was on the NFT so early that my old label damn near was like kind of calling him crazy for even bringing up NFTs when they first came out. And then NFTs became what you heard 10 times a day. They were embarrassed, you know what I'm saying, that they paid that man like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's really what it is, just really getting into this blockchain, NFT out there, pushing it. You know, the cool thing about how it's going with NFTs is like, we've all discovered artists early, right? But we've never had the opportunity to be invested in an artist early. We've never had the opportunity to be incentivized by, if our new favorite artist blows up, we blow up too. And we can, you know what I'm saying, kind of cash up too, you know, by like almost like crowdfunding almost. Like this, and it's wild, yo. So, you know, just educating people on, you know, where we going, you know, releasing music in a creative way and in a futuristic way. Continuing to work with major label artists and indie artists. Label Gourmet Ratchet Records, and I've already started signing some artists and getting some things going. I brought this kid, his name is Frame Vibes. I had a show in Chicago. It was a 1-year anniversary Truth Serum show, and I brought him out in my show. And that's really like the next thing. The next thing is to just continue. It's the tour, you know, get in front of people, play this music, share this message, you know, make beats on stage live so that they can see that Santa Claus is real. You know what I'm saying? Like, just really get out there and touch the people, you know? Absolutely.
Well, we can't wait to see all of it. Again, I thank you for your time today. It's been truly a pleasure. And it's just, I knew you were dope before, but it's just like you said, seeing how your journey connects together. And like you said, like that God has clearly been with you throughout the whole thing. Cause it's like certain things just got no other explanation besides that. So it's really been a pleasure to hear about it.
Man, bro, you know, there's so much power in sharing your truth. So much power. And it's funny too, even one of my favorite scriptures, right? And they kind of change, you know, because I read so much, but like something really heavy in my spirit is Galatians 4:16, which says, "Am I therefore become thine enemy because I tell you the truth?" You know what I'm saying? And so like, it's really just been speaking power to truth, you know? And I know for me, I was always so concerned about being cool, you know what I'm saying? That, you know, I was masking or finessing the truth when it doesn't need any of that. Like, your truth is enough, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, this is great, man. Let's stay tapped in. I see Portia just put a message in there. Where can we follow you? Kosine on Instagram, you know, Kosine.
Absolutely.
And on Twitter, and .Kosine on TikTok. Yeah, I think those are the hot spots.
Well, we tapped in, man. It's been a pleasure once again.
And definitely come to the website, kosine.co.
Oh yeah, I'm going there. As soon as I put it in the article, I'm going right there.
So there we go. All right, Chief. I appreciate your time, man.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you too. Want to stop the recording real quick.
This was great.